Тяжелый, да, Денис? Он целиковый там был, полный. Вот он даже не посмотрел, понимаешь, но сидел полчаса, мозги мне пудрил.
Мои дети делают точно так. Они говорят, это невозможно сделать. Просто невозможно.
Наташа, видео идет, запись звука идет. Запись звука идет, видео идет.
Отлично. Дай мне ссылку, пожалуйста, на трансляцию.
Я водичку ловлю.
На подоконник поставить. Жалюзи. Или уже все? Разляг?
Чего жалюзи? Чего жалюзи?
Тут нет.
Хочешь что-то?
Нет, ну просто сегодня времени нет. Я только на ты сейчас можешь, не знаешь, чем заняться.
Да, я там такой сижу и не знаю, что делать.
Ну вот, я говорю, что...
Ваня, а где мне ссылку здесь взять? Я не вижу открытую ссылку. Ваня, мне ссылку нужна. Я зашла.
Ну, нажми редактировать.
Денис, а где моя зарядка?
Там.
То есть ты заряжаешь?
Да, даже.
Давай другую, вот.
Дай, пожалуйста, бутылку.
Пришли мне в WhatsApp, пожалуйста, ссылку.
Мне здесь WhatsApp не установлен.
Тогда ты можешь через меня зайти? Екатерине, у тебя есть Екатерина?
Тебе встану.
Угу, спасибо.
Вы в курсе, да, что запись звука идет, все идет? 2 человека присоединилось.
О, Лена.
Пожалуйста, помолчи, Денис, а? Вань, выгони его.
Все, распихала, да, всем?
Короче, Катя не придет,
Facebook надо.
которая раньше была.
Беленькая?
Да, Юля опоздает.
Подружка не будет.
Короче, почти не будет народу сегодня. Я не вижу эту ссылку, Ваня, кто мне прислал, не понимаю.
А я в контакт не могу войти, потому что я заблокирована. Ты же говоришь.
Угу. Ваня, у меня нет ссылки от тебя на...
Жалюзи на месте.
У меня не
И
отправили.
порядок.
Окошечко будет закрыто, да?
Давай откроем, я думаю, что воздух нужен.
А звук, то, что будет слышно?
М?
Звук. Ничего? С экрана. Погромче просто сделаем, да?
Угу.
Не будет мешать записи с улицы, да?
Ну, давай так оставим. Давай скажем так.
Что нужно?
Всё.
Давайте попробуем выключить свет и проверить, как это помогает нам.
Денис, выключи свет и софит, пожалуйста.
Мне кажется, так лучше, правда?
Да. А почему нет сигнала?
Наверное, скидка наших компьютеров, наверное, поэтому... Ну, отлично.
Это все задерживаются, да?
Ну, половина не придет. Придет, я так поняла, только Юля.
Один человек?
Да.
О, прикольно. Всякие планы сделать.
Сегодня, кажется, очень погода хорошая. Правда, сегодня сделала.
Что там приветствуешь? Сейчас мы начнем. Алена Сидорова. Спрашивает. Привет. Хорошая трансляция. Когда начало? Алена Сидорова.
Не чате, что ли?
Ну, страшно тебя смотрит. Скажи. Алена Титова. Хорошая трансляция. Когда начало? Жду начала.
Начинаем. Скоро начинаем. Ждем еще минуточек 5-7. Немного странно начинать без людей. Непонятно, кому что говорить. Я Юлю дождусь и буду с Юлей.
Скажи, сейчас подождем.
Но я не понимаю, на каком языке это говорить.
Ну, Алене скажи. Времени неудобно. По времени неудобно. По времени неудобно. Время.
Слушай, а как все
Или присылать контакт.
А она не ссылкой, Катя, присылается. Присылается как-то непонятно там.
Тебе не отзвонили? Лена, если что, привет. Все, правильно.
Okay, so we are waiting for our audience.
Проверка звука.
Can you hear me? Mayday, mayday.
Звук видео.
М?
Звук видео.
Идёт? А спроси, там хорошо меня слышно?
Ты спроси сама. Алена Титова спрашивает.
Что спрашиваю?
Ну, Алена Титова тебя смотрит. Спроси, слышно или не слышно?
Я поняла.
Вот у камеры спроси, слышно ли тебя или не слышно?
Как там обычно говорят, если вы меня слышите, поставьте плюсики в чат, да?
А Юля идет?
М? Ну, она опоздает.
Алена Титова спрашивает, а живая публика будет? А трансляция будет полностью на английском? А то я не понимаю так хорошо.
Я постараюсь объяснить на английском. Хорошо, Алена. Живая публика должна быть. Мы ее ждем. Она опаздывает, задерживается.
Проблема в
Слишком тепло, хорошо.
Нам надо семинар делать где-нибудь на заливе, да?
Вот это, кстати, идея.
Денис, если ты меня будешь отвлекать, я тебя попрошу удалиться. Вот прям очень попрошу.
Плюсик написал.
Слышно, видно, да, все? Окей.
Теперь мне надо. Лицо грустное.
Какой оно должно быть?
Я твоя Hello, may I come in?
Yes, come in. Получается, зеркалит?
Почему?
Смотри, как изображение.
Это нет, это какие-то
Нормально было?
аппараты YouTube. Он зеркалит, потому что вот это еще.
Я написала, кто-то живой пришел. Ура! М? Ну, о чем с кем?
Можно вниз сходить, смотреть, может, пришел.
А Юля знает, куда идти.
А может,
Я думаю, она конкретно опоздает. Она предупредила меня, что она очень опоздает. Может, начать без всех?
а у тебя Юля контакт же есть?
Но она написала, что она опоздает.
Ну сколько?
На 20 минут написала, но я думаю, что там где
Ты
20, там 30.
у аудитории спроси, может ли подождать 20 минут. Тебе легче будет, если человек будет тебя заинтересован смотреть. Спроси. Скажи, да, 10 минут, 15 минут.
Так может тогда начать? Что я буду? Давайте начнем. Выключи, пожалуйста, софт, я начну. Пусть будет просто как запись. М? Нет, я имею в виду, сейчас будет это видео. Хотя
Ты
надо-
хочешь видео? Ты прям хочешь прям с видео начать?
Да, я прям хочу с видео начать.
Всё равно, уже
М?
может, как переигрываться начнем?
Ну, я вообще начну. Без всех тогда просто начну. Вообще, конечно, это грустно.
Спроси у человека, может подождет 5 минут, 10 минут.
Ну, 10-15, и это будет еще, знаешь, сколько ждать? Ну,
Да?
когда она придет? Ну, да, я думаю, что да.
Сама решай.
Окей. So we were waiting, but anyway, I decided to start our seminar. And can you switch off the soft, please? I need a projector now, okay? So I'm going to start with the video. Which I think is the best for the seminar today and for the topic of the seminar today. Let's have a look at the screen.
Das hier ist mein Sektor. Das hier ist das wichtigste Gerät des Küstenwächters. Das Gerät für das Überlebensradar.
Hello? This is the German Coast Guard. What are you thinking about?
So what are you thinking about? And agree that phonetics really matters. Okay. Well, before I tell you about the 5 secrets of phonetics, I would like to have a brief review of what phonetics can be divided into, right? Because on the previous seminar, we talked about 5 tips of mine, and I advised you to use phonetics at the very beginning of the class. But phonetics is not just used at the beginning, right? So let's see. I roughly split phonetics into 2 groups. The first one is going to be phonetical drill, phonetic drill, and pronunciation. And if we have phonetical drill, I mean here what? My favorite, tongue twisters, right? Or we may have different limericks. Or it can be songs. Or I sometimes use rhymes, different rhymes. Rhymes. Nice. Well, for example, for kids, yeah, or for children. You can also use poems here. You can also use poems. And I have my golden collection. I call it a golden collection. What is this golden collection? It's when you teach and during the class your student or your students can say something. I put all these phrases or words together and I have this golden collection that really works. So, and this phonetic drill, we use at the very beginning of the class. That's what I advised you last time, yeah? At the beginning of a class. It's a kind of warm-up. You can freely use it as a warm-up. All these things. Warm-up. So phonetic drill we use at the very beginning, but it's not just phonetics. And make sure if you have tongue twisters or limericks or rhymes or poems during the class and that's it, you are mistaken. Because we also have pronunciation. And pronunciation, it's what? It's vocabulary. Vocabulary. It's the texts. Our speech, it's also pronunciation, right? And that's what we use, and keep in mind during the whole class. During the whole class. So you see, phonetics is really very, very wide. We cover not only phonetic drill at the very beginning, but also the pronunciation during the whole class. And right now, I would like to talk about the main functions of phonetic drill and pronunciation. That's important for us to understand why, actually, we need phonetic drill at the beginning of the class, or why we have to pay attention to pronunciation during the whole class. And phonetic drill is, can you help me, my audience, please? Phonetic drill is actually the best way to pump. Oh, Julie, hello, welcome. Finally. So, Julie, let's get down to work immediately. So, I've just explained that phonetics that we're going to talk today about, right, can be roughly split into two groups, roughly. Phonetic drill we use at the very beginning of the class. That's what we call tongue twisters, limericks, songs, rhymes, poems. I have my golden collection here, the list of cool phrases and expressions my students can't cope with at once, so we have to drill them, and that's a kind of warm-up. And we have pronunciation. And pronunciation is something we practice during the whole class. Practically, we can't just get rid of it. We practice it during the whole class. And it's about vocabulary, new vocabulary, or the vocabulary from the previous class. It's about texts, and it's about our speech. The question is, what is the main function of phonetic drill? Why do we need it? To speak English. How? Correctly. But do you correct your students here? When we have tongue twisters, songs, limericks, poems.
You told last time that it's not right to correct immediately.
No.
I noticed it.
No, you don't correct your students. Okay, so the main function of phonetic drill, something we use at the very beginning, is, first of all, let's put it somewhere here. The main functions, yeah? Functions. What? Pump our students up. To pump up. Well, for example, you come to the class, some of my students are sad, some of my students are focused on other stuff, you know. I have to pump them up a little bit, yeah? Then what? Pump up is actually about good mood, yeah? You just, like energizer. Then you tune. Tune them to what? If you have tongue twisters in English, songs in English, rhymes in English, we tune them to... Try to imagine if you live, for example, in Brazil and you have an English class, right? You come to the class and you spoke your language just a minute ago, but now you will have to speak English, and your teacher wants you to speak English. We tune to the language, yeah, to the language. Well, to English, for example. We tune to English, we teach English. We can also tune to maybe grammar. Today, I will explain you how to tune your students to grammar very logically and naturally. Or you can tune to new vocabulary, for example. New vocabulary. And we use tongue twisters, limericks, these first parts, phonetic drill for brushing up some previous information. That's when you have students of a bigger level. Well, for example, you have adults of upper intermediate or intermediate level, or pre-intermediate level is also good here. So brush up, yeah? Brush up the vocabulary. That's about phonetic drill. As for pronunciation, the main functions here are So functions for pronunciation are, well, try to imagine you have new vocabulary and your students are like, I say, no, you're not right, it's like this. You do what? Within transcription, for example, you shape their pronunciation, right? You shape the correct or the proper pronunciation. That's during the whole class. Because what you have at the very beginning is almost ready. For example, the tongue twisters, yeah, like Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. It's already done. It's already, it's actually ready to practice, right? But when they start using the new words, that's vocabulary by themselves, or they have a text to read on their own, that's the moment for them to make their own mistakes, yeah? So we correct the pronunciation. And the most important thing, it's both for pronunciation and it can be also for phonetic drill. That's the most important thing. I treat it as a result of phonetics. That's fluency. That's what we need as a result. It's fluency. What is fluency? That means what? In other words, right? That's fast and natural. Okay. So why I want you to know this? Because my 5 secrets are gonna be about both, not just phonetic drill. Yeah? Okay. So now let's try to see how it works, know the details. And practically, these are my 5 secrets of teaching phonetics. I will share 5 secrets I use during my classes, okay? What I use and what I think is really efficient in teaching. We don't have our Kates today. It's a little bit sad, right? You are the only trusty student of mine. By the way, at the very beginning of the seminar, I wanted to ask you about the previous class. I gave you some tips to use during your classes, yeah? And some habits. I want to know if you start using some of them. How is it going? Or maybe not yet. Some new habits.
I thought about that. I stopped correcting, as you said, so it was important for me. I just thought more about that during my lesson. Build up, I just thought about it. Okay.
Yeah, you kept it in mind.
Yes,
Just okay.
I added time to keep it.
Anything else? Maybe you try to start your classes with speaking at the end. Remember, we talked about speaking at the end.
Yes. Unfortunately, I couldn't.
So our next seminar is going to be speaking, how to make your students
I
speak.
would like to do it during my lesson, but I didn't manage yet.
Not yet. Okay, it's all ahead. So let's start. And the first secret I want to share with you about phonetics, so you can clearly understand what goes at the very first of your class and how to plan it with no problems, actually, because it helps me a lot. That's a system. I call it clear as a day. Clear as a day. Clear. A clear system. If I want my students to say something correctly, they have to know exactly what I mean, right? And for this reason, May I ask you, please, to turn off the softs? Because I'm going to use a projector, okay? Yeah, thank you. And I want to draw your attention to the screen because, look. Here we go. So that's the system I have. I've got some handouts for you. So no need to put it down. It will take lots of time for you, really. I just want to explain. I'll try to make it a little bit closer, so I'll try to zoom it. Give me a sec. Here we go. Is that better? It's not my invention. I mean the sounds, right? But I decided to do what? I've been teaching for a long time, and I've noticed that our sounds are, thrown everywhere. And it's not one system in front of my eyes, in front of my students' eyes, but lots and lots of different drills, different exercises everywhere, right? So you can face them all over the book. And maybe if you want to have a song or something, practically you may be a little bit stuck, like, okay, so what am I going to practice then? Just to have fun? Yes, phonetics, it's a great fun. Phonetic drill is really great fun. But I decided to make up the system, and I have 2 levels. This one is for kids, really. It's very, very simple and very clear to understand. So what I do when I have a new group, or when I start teaching a new grade, or when I have a new individual child, I'm talking about children, yeah? That's mostly primary students of mine. I explain what sounds are, and it's a very simple way to do that, because I explain that we have long sounds, just like in Russian. We make them long. They are R, or, E, U, U, That's what we have, long sounds. It's quite understandable for children to get, because I treat it as blocks, I have one block, long sounds. Then we have short sounds. That's another block. I explained that we have R, or, E, U, 3 kinds of E in English, but I don't ask them to learn it. Never. So I just explained, we have long sounds, we have short sounds, we have 2 sounds together, they're diphthongs, right? We know them as diphthongs, but I don't use any difficult words, yeah? Even vowels and consonants for children can be replaced by easy words, maybe Russian if you use Russian to explain, yeah? But, long and short, that's the active vocabulary of our children at school, right? The basic vocabulary they know. 2, it's also easy, so 2 sounds. They do understand. I want them to understand the origin of the sound. It can be long, we make it long. It can be short, it's always short. It can be 2 sounds together, 2 sounds. That's the main thing to understand, right? I'm not going to explain that they are diphthongs and not diphthongs, not about this. We have consonants, sounds we can't make long, yeah? And I explained for children that they have friends, some of them, yeah? English, it's called like voice and voiceless. And that's the way we practice them. So I use this system to practice. I don't use it for theory. That's actually the end of the theory I have. Yeah, I just give them the system. And we have the consonants with no friends. Like, I can't find any other sound for L or for M or for N, yeah? I explained that we have very weird symbols like Z, S, yeah? But the main idea, and by the way, it's TH, I also explained that. But the main idea is, again, to show them the system itself, right? So long, short, two sounds together. We have sounds. We can practice like b, t, voiced, voiceless. Some special sounds. Sometimes I allow my students with a pencil to put down some sounds. Like if they're very small, not, well, I usually deal with this system when my students go to school, when they're school guys, school boys and girls. Before it, I think it's useless. I mean, they have to hear and repeat a lot, yeah? But when they start learning English at school, they have to understand what I need, right? What I want from them. And that system helps. How I use it during the class. I usually start my classes with these handouts, just like you have it, right? My students have. They stick them to the copybooks, wherever, and we do it together orally. First, I teach them. It's a kind of phonetical drill. What is the difference between drill and exercise? We drill it every time. I don't ask them to learn it, right? I ask them to do it together with me every class. And if we count the number of classes, you will see that it really works, because that's what they do like a habit. Remember, if we have it like a habit, it gets really great results. So, and we practice. First, I explain. We have R, and they repeat after me, like car, start. I always repeat the sound. I say like O, horse, door, then E, she, tree, tea, and they do it together with me. If it's a group, they do it together in a group. If it's one child, he does it individually, right? So that's logical. It's clear. I don't explain the whole system at once. It's crucial and a disaster, because it's going to be really very boring for children. The idea is to have a part, small one. Remember, teacher is a person who can explain different difficult things within very simple language. That's what I do. I simplify it. I have a part, okay, the first class, yeah, I explain long sounds. Next class, I come back to long sounds. I go to short sound, that is new information for them. The next class, we, combine the first two, then I explain diphthongs, two sounds together, and so on and so forth. If you look at the slide more precisely, you will see that we have some combination of letters, you see? They're highlighted. And it helps me to explain them the main rules of pronunciation. So first, I introduce my system. It's, the main idea to get that sound can be long, short, two sounds. We may have voiced, voiceless sounds, just like in Russian. That's the simultaneous process. They study that at school. They know it. Then I explain that, for example, R, long sound R, it's AR combination, yeah? And that's what we do with the pencil. We always deal with it. It's never clear, yeah? Clean. This page is never clean. It's always with some notes, yeah? They make it for themselves. And we underline or look. We have AR, that is R, long sound R. Then long sound OR, OR, right? Or it can be double OR, mostly OR. I don't have any complicated rules. The very simple ones, the basic ones. And it's not a list of rules, right? I give the examples.
Sorry. What is correct variant? Or? Our students often ask me.
It's American and British.
Yes, American British. That's why I explained that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they have it smashed in their brains now. They don't understand me, so they or. I said I use or, but we don't have here the
This is or.
Yes.
Look, it's a deep or, it's still or. But this R sound is not like a consonant. You can't say it, right? It's just the pronunciation. You do that deeply. That's why it sounds like or. Sounds like or. But it goes from the teacher sometimes, If they can hear or all the time, they will grab your pronunciation and they will copy your pronunciation. If I have British English, they would copy my British English, and it's pure O, yeah, just horse or door. I can't speak like this.
Pronunciation of or, just deep pronunciation.
Deep pronunciation of or, that's it. It's not extra R we have there, no. I mean, we have it, but it makes our sound deep, right? Okay, and the same goes with R. The same story. We have car and we have car. Pure British accent is R, no R, no or, no R. And the same goes with yeah, when you have this and . But you know what I sometimes do is I watch my students. Well, for example, some of them tend to use R, pure British R, and I don't correct them. That's their choice. It's up to them. Sometimes they can say R. It sounds cool. I use it a lot. I love it. That's my accent, American a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So, and within these words, oh, what's up? Kate. That's my laptop. Sleeping mode, I think. Yeah. Hello. Maiden. Let's try it again there. Is that clear? Yeah, that's cool. Okay. So then I explained that we have long E, and it's one E, double E, EA. And my examples, just 3 words, help me to do that every time without learning rules by heart, you know? They don't learn them. They can see that it's like visual support, very strong visual support for them. While doing that during the class, I say it and they repeat after me. I always want them to look at their notes. So to look at this system, not anywhere else, not at each other, even not at me, but I sometimes ask them, small ones, to follow with the finger, you know, because it helps to remember the words.